Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Read Fate Strange Fake. We are here probably finishing up the story today because there's not too many pages left, all things considered, which, I'm starting to think that the big Season 1 anime finale is not going to be even in this one. Unless it's the bridge or something? We'll have to see. Real curious. Anyways, so, Interlude. A mercenary is a free man, too. Let's get going. Interlude. You there. Listen closely, my little brothers and sisters. You must destroy anyone who tries to take something from us. When Sigma tried to remember his past, the words of his foster parents always came to mind. Even now that he knew they were totally meaningless, a tool for brainwashing, he could not forget them. He felt neither hatred nor sadness for them. Only the simple fact that those words had been repeated to him over and over remained in his memory. When Sigma thought that they were his oldest memory, he always wondered, were those words influencing the way he lived? Every time he remembered, he asked himself, did he currently have anything to lose but his life? Anything important enough to make him want to destroy anyone who took it? Sigma could not find anything. He continued to passively exist. He never considered trying to put himself forward. He just continued to crawl on and on behind the curtain of the world's stage, even when he was caught in the middle of a holy Grail War. A closed-off town, Kuraoka residence, a short while earlier. Jester, what's wrong? Tsubaki ran over to the young jester when she saw him suddenly collapse. Sigma, who was looking on, inspected Jester's body. Is this a mystical attack? It probably disrupts the target's magical circuits by unleashing out of control foreign magical energy inside their body. He had not noticed any projection spell like Gander. What had happened? He's groaning. The sight of Jester groaning in pain had Tsubaki looking panicked and on the verge of tears. Could I finish him off now? It would probably be better to move Tsubaki somewhere else first. It was less that Sigma did not want to show Tsubaki anything gruesome, and more the fact that if she perceived him as a murderer, Mr. Black, presumably her servant, might target him. Tsubaki, Sigma told her, call your mom and dad. Okay, she answered, trembling, and dashed off up the stairs. Once he had watched her leave, Sigma took a mystic tool from his belt. It was a syringe of a liquid drug, useful only in encounters with hematophages and certain summoned beasts. The drug's effects were on par with holy water. It would normally have no effect on a hematophage of Jester's level, but in his current state, Sigma decided it was worth a try. He looked over the boy Jester as if giving him a medical exam and placed a hand on the nape of his neck. It won't work, mister. That stuff will only kill this child's conceptual core. Maybe, but it's worth a try. Hang on. New child appearances are a pain to get a hold of. I can't force it. I need full consent to load them. Whoa. Jester explained his own magecraft through pain, but Sigma doubted that any mage would show his hand. The information was probably either nonsense or nearly worthless. Sigma decided that Jester must be playing for time, and coolly began to stab the syringe into him when a young child's scream rang out from the room above. The young Jester took advantage of that brief opening to kick Sigma in the gut as he continued to groan. Sigma put distance between himself and Jester, but the scream had not stopped. He saw that Jester was on his feet, although he appeared to be in pain, and decided that he could not finish him off at the present. Sigma immediately changed course, grabbed the crossbow off the table where he had left it, and leapt straight for the stairs. If push comes to shove, will I be able to use it? The crossbow was well maintained, but he did not know if he could fire it immediately. Even so, the strange beauty in red had made a point of entrusting it to him, so he thought it would be useful for some future decision and decided to take it with him. It could be a trap, but the more information the better. It was partly a gamble, but most of the jobs from Francesca had included an optional objective to bring back stuff that looks like it might be fun if you see any, so he did not feel much reluctance. doesn't look like it contains any spells that curse the holder to death. Still, I'm packing a lot of mystic codes now. Sigma reached the top of the stairs without stopping. There was Tsubaki, staring out the window and unable to stand. What is it? He was able to spot the change immediately. The world he could see outside the window had changed completely since he last saw it. The blue sky was covered by dark clouds, and giant monstrous skeletons were striding through the city. The vibrant green lawn and trees had withered, and sinister black steam was rising from the ground in some places. What's going on? Monsters. Monsters! Tsubaki had not been frightened by Mr. Black, but the swarm of giant skeletons terrified her. Is she not involved in all this? The next instant, Mr. Black rose out of the garden and enveloped the girl like it was trying to embrace her. Mr. Black? Tsubaki sounded relieved. The sound that seemed to be her heroic spirit, the shadow, that seemed to be her heroic spirit, did not answer. It only swayed as it hid the scary world from her eyes. I thought so. I don't know who's saying that then. I want to become a magician. He remembered that Tsubaki had said that. Okay, that was just the remembrance there. According to Kuraoka Yukaku, the servant was something like Tsubaki's protector. What if it had responded to Tsubaki's wish to become a magician? He had had a bad feeling ever since Jester had started asking questions that seemed designed to lead her in that direction. Sigma ground his teeth at the fact that his feeling had been spot on as he asked Tsubaki, Hey, Tsubaki, you're not feeling under the weather at all, are you? Huh? No, I'm scared, but I'm fine. I see. It seemed like the situation had nothing to do with her magical energy running dry. Just then, Tsubaki's father, Kuraoka Yukaku, emerged from the garden. Oh, Tsubaki, what's the matter? Daddy, there's lots of monsters outside and... No, I almost forgot. Jester is... Tsubaki ran to her father with tears in her eyes. Don't worry, Tsubaki. Her mother, who had arrived later, told her with a calm smile. All those big skeletons are your friends. What? Tsubaki stared blankly up at her mother. That's right, Tsubaki. Her father responded to her confusion. Those nice skeletons are the same as Mr. Black. But they're not like Mr. Black. Mr. Black wouldn't do anything that scary. Sigma was looking at the giant skeletons, fighting with something as they smashed buildings. Even that Sigma could see what looked like slashes of light from time to time, there was a good chance that it was a Saber-class heroic spirit. You met him. Why are you saying a Saber-class? I guess it could be someone else potentially, but... well, no, but there's only one Saber. Yes, they're the same as Mr. Black. Mr. Black's job is to keep you safe, but those skeletons are weapons. It's normal you'd be scared of them. Huh? What? Hey. Sigma saw Tsubaki's confession and tried to stop her parents from saying anything more. Okay, that was him, actually, but his protest died on his lips. A figure had rocketed down from the sky. It was Assassin, and she was covered in injuries. Assassin! Is the girl safe? She shouted, ignoring her wounds. Is that Hematophage here? Yes, but he suddenly collapsed in pain and... So, those mages' spells succeeded. Where is he? Assassin sounded ready to go finish him off immediately. Are you Miss Assassin? Tsubaki called out to her, under the impression that Assassin was a name, and tried to approach her, looking worried. Are you okay? You're hurt. There's blood and... Assassin saw that Tsubaki was on the verge of tears, and spoke to Tsubaki in a gentle, reassuring voice as she shifted her clothes to hide her injuries. Yes, I'll be fine. She was sent flying by a shadow grotesquerie that appeared from beside her. Assassin fought back using shadows that stretched from the gaps in her clothing, but the monsters appeared one after another and attempted to overwhelm her with numbers. If her enemies had a main body or a core of some kind, Assassin would be able to turn the tables on them by using the appropriate noble phantasm. But Sigma had already realized that the entire ward world was fused with their enemy's main body, meaning that its core could only be Kuraoka Tsubaki. Miss! A panicked Tsubaki tried to run to Assassin, but her parents' arms held her back. It's not safe, Tsubaki. That's right. You wouldn't want to be caught up in that. Their voices were kind, but their expressions were clearly out of place in the situation around them. That sense of discomfort drove a wedge deep into Tsubaki, who was, after all, a child. Her unease grew, and she looked like she was about to cry as she shouted, "Why? Aren't they Mr. Black's friends? Why are these monsters hurting Miss Assassin?" "Well, that's because she's trying to kill you." A boy's voice came from behind the group. It was Jester, who had climbed out of the underground workshop. He was still in the form of a small boy and tormented by Flat's spell, but he forced himself to smile and speak to Tsubaki. "That lady says you being alive is a problem." "What?" "Stop," Sigma quietly ordered. But Jester continued even as his whole body shook with pain. "Yes, the same goes for Mr. Sigma there too. They're bad people who want to kill you to help themselves." "You're wrong." "Me? What for?" "You don't have to care. You're queen of this world. Just do whatever you feel like. You want to become a magician and get your parents to praise you, right? Don't worry, you can do it. I'm on your side." Jester was taking every opportunity to emphasize that he was a friend. He was probably trying to avoid being attacked by Tsubaki, avoid being attacked by making Tsubaki see him as an ally. Assassin was not currently drawing on magical energy from Jester, but from a master called Ayaka via Saber. Taken another way, that meant it was hard for Mr. Black to identify Jester as Assassin's master. "I'm a queen?" "Yes, you are. People who are jealous of you are trying to bully you, and Mr. Black is going to protect you from them. Forever and ever." Jester tried to stroke the girl's ego and indulge her childish sense that she could do anything. But he had made one miscalculation. Maybe if he had not suffered Flack's attack and the shock of being abandoned by his superior as a dead apostle, he might have been able to understand and control Tsubaki's feelings with a cooler head. He did not realize. He had assumed that Tsubaki was a typical simple-minded girl of her age suffering from illness. In a sense, Tsubaki really was simple-minded. In this world, Tsubaki was the very picture of a typical girl her age. But he failed to realize that Tsubaki's simple-mindedness was really the product of her struggle through a plethora of suffering. And because that was what it was, even though she did not understand why everyone was upset, even though she was afraid, even though she was on the verge of tears, even though she wanted to be happy, she had a revelation. Oh. The experience she had spent her whole life accumulating led her to a single conclusion. "I failed again." Tsubaki sadly hung her head, then slowly raised it again. Then, desperately fighting back tears, she said to everyone around her, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dad. Mom." "You've got nothing to be sorry for, Tsubaki. You should just relax. You don't need to do anything. Nothing to be sorry for." Even as young as she was, Tsubaki instinctively understood. That did not mean you didn't fail, nothing is your fault. It meant you failed, but I'm not angry. So, it really was her fault that Sigma and Assassin were in trouble. More importantly, it was her fault that those black skeletons were smashing things. Tsubaki heard the noise of the city still being destroyed as she practically sobbed. "But if there are people in the buildings, everybody in the city will." "It doesn't matter how many people die in this city. They're like batteries. Consumable." "That's right, Tsubaki. Those nice skeletons will kill all the people who are mad at you." "Yes, and it's your world, Tsubaki, so mystery will stay concealed no matter how many people die." "That's wonderful. Now we just have to think about how to hide the effects on the outside world." What? What are they talking about? Assassin could not help frowning as she fended off grotesqueries. They were supposed to be brainwashed to protect Tsubaki. There was no sign that they were under Jester's control. That would mean that they normally talk to the daughter that way. After hearing what her parents had to say, Tsubaki looked imploringly at Sigma and Assassin. They did not know what to think, and the only answer they could give was silence. Then Tsubaki realized that she was not mistaken. She could not help it. "It'll be okay." Tsubaki was shaking, but she still smiled at the grown-ups around her. "I'll do my best." Just like that, Mr. Black's smoke clung to her body like it was being sucked into her. What? Even Jester was confused. unable to read Tsubaki's intentions. But first, Assassin and then Sigma guessed what she was trying to do and shouted to stop her. Stop! Wait, you don't... But their words never reached her. The monstrosities that sprang out of Mr. Black's body blocked their attempt to run to her. As a result, Tsubaki was able to carry out her whim. Please, Mr. Black. The girl's command spells glowed faintly. Please put everything back the way it was. Ignoring the young jester's look of shock, Tsubaki made her command spell shine. Please, make me all alone, forever and ever. For just an instant, it looked like Mr. Black made a gesture of surprise. Think this through. Stop! Assassin and Jester shouted at the same time. Sigma could do nothing but watch the scene play out. Soon, Mr. Black shook intensely like it was screaming. The next instant, the world turned over again. Snowfield, the Kuraoka residence. Can I just say, I think I preferred how that happened in the anime. I think that is one instance where the anime's sort of pacing and a variety of stuff, actually, I think that was improved in the anime. Yeah, I would say that. Controversial. I know I say I like the books more, but that was, I think, handled better in the anime. Snowfield, the Kuraoka residence. When Sigma woke up, he was exactly where he had been before he lost consciousness. He was in a corner of Kuraoka Yukaku's house that connected to the garden. But the sky was blue, and the lawn was lush and green. The destroyed buildings were also completely restored. Sigma realized that he was not in the ward world. He had returned to reality. As proof, only Kuraoka Tsubaki had vanished from the house without a trace. When he looked around, he saw that Assassin appeared to have come as well. She was clenching her fists and shouting, "Why would that little girl choose that here, in the midst of all this?" She staggered to her feet and glared at the Kuraokas, who were also struggling to rise with unmistakable rage in her eyes. What kind of life did that child lead? Did you force her to lead for her to choose that? What did you do to that child, to your own daughter? What have you done? I don't know what you're talking about, but can you afford to waste time on us? Kuraoka Yukaku chuckled, holding his head, looking at what was behind Assassin and Sigma. That was... Okay. What a spoil sport. I never guessed she was that broken. I was looking forward to Miss Assassin sobbing as she lopped off Tsubaki's innocent little head, while Tsubaki screamed that she wanted to live. The irritated-looking boy opened the front of his clothes, revealing a tattoo reminiscent of a revolver's chamber near his heart. When he brushed a hand over the design, which appeared to have been inked onto the flat surface of his skin, the tattoo spun, and a different design was loaded into the uppermost chamber. Instantly, the boy's jester's body swelled into a red-haired werewolf over 2 meters tall and leapt. "See you, Assassin! I'll have more fun tormenting you with my love next time!" The creature, whose speech had become coarser, leaped straight onto the roof of the house and flipped, speeding through the air away from Assassin. "You won't escape me!" Assassin kicked off the ground and vanished in pursuit of Jester, ignoring her own injuries. That left only Sigma and the Kuraokas. We had a rough time of it. I can't believe the command spells ended up in our daughter instead of us. Yes, but we should have seen that as proof. The command spells chose Tsubaki because, as young as she was, the quality of her magical circuits had surpassed ours. The couple's matter-of-fact conversation made Sigma uneasy. What's this feeling? Were they still being manipulated by Tsubaki's servant? No, Sigma decided. What felt out of place to him was nothing like that. No, you're Sigma, right? You're supposed to work for Faldius. Can you get in touch with him? Dear, we have to get to the hospital first. You're right. I guess we'll pick up something to cut off her right hand with over there. Yes. Cut off her right hand? Sigma could not help asking. Yes, that's right. It looks like that little brat Tsubaki went and used 2 command spells. But as long as there's one left, we can re-establish a contract with that heroic spirit. With a heroic spirit that powerful, we'll be able to secure a considerable advantage if we cooperate with Faldius. Sigma understood. This couple remembered everything that had happened while they were being controlled. In spite of that, the first words out of their mouth were not concern for Tsubaki, but plans to cut off her right hand and steal her command spells. Oh, that's right. That's how mages are. The magic crest must still belong to one of the parents. I doubt they'd be too disappointed if Tsubaki died. All they care about is a blood-related individual to make inherit their magecraft. Blood-related. You're going to cut off Tsubaki's hand? Yes, it'll be fine. She's unconscious anyway, so we don't have to worry about her screaming. Of course, we wouldn't want her to lose the ability to bear children one day, so we'll have to take utmost care of her heart and nerves. Ask Faldius and Chief Reeve to handle the hospital staff while we work. I don't want to ask Francesca, but in the worst-case scenario, her magecraft would make it possible to preserve at least Tsubaki's reproductive capabilities, even with her head removed. Yukako seemed to be speaking dispassionately, without exaggeration or sarcasm. And Sigma realized. His strange feeling did not come from within. It was an emotion welling up from deep inside him. You there. Listen closely, my little brothers and sisters. Inside Sigma, a voice echoed. You must destroy anyone who tries to take something from us. A voice from the past. Words that no longer meant anything, but it was a voice that stirred Sigma's heart. Oh, I see. Is that it? I thought that Kuraoka Tsubaki and I lived in different worlds. She's a mage, but she has parents. Blood-related parents. That has nothing to do with it. Tsubaki's smile. The way he and the others had been treated in the past in the face of the brother he had killed with his own hands flashed through his brain one after another. What is this? What is this weird feeling? Suddenly Sigma realized that he was holding something. It was the crossbow he had carried out of the basement of the dream. Huh? Why do you have that? It's difficult to use as a weapon, and now that the heroic spirits are assembled, it can't be used in this war. Will you return it to us? As he listened to Yukako speak, Sigma suddenly had an idea. I said I'd protect Tsubaki, didn't I? With my own lips? And the mysterious being in red had trusted him immediately. He's mumbling something. Dear, is this mercenary safe? Oh, he can't do anything inside the house. Tsubaki's father had a lot of confidence in the house's defenses, but he seemed entirely unafraid of Sigma. But he was not careless or conceited either. Sigma could tell that his fingers were ready to cast a spell that would be the end. What? Sigma could tell. Oh, okay. Sigma could tell that his fingers were ready to cast a spell that would be the end of Sigma at any time. Sorry. I got confused by who he and Sigma. Okay. Sigma drew in a short breath and resumed the inhuman expression of the magecraft using mercenaries. He said, Excuse me, Mr. Kuroka Yukaku, I'll report the particulars to Mr. Faldius. Yes, please do. I won't mind if you tell him about our heroic spirit, as much as you are able to understand anyway. Yes, sir. And one more thing, Mr. Kuroka, I ought to notify you. Notify me? Yukaku looked suspicious. This is a Holy Grail War, Sigma stated dispassionately, and I'm one of the participants. And? I assume that assassin is your heroic spirit? Yukako asked suspiciously, unaware that he was making a fatal error. He was under the mistaken impression that Sigma was a low-level magecraft user separated from his heroic spirit. That even if something went wrong, all he had to do was finish off Sigma before he could use a command spell to recall assassin. My direct superior is Francesca, not Faldius, and I've been given permission to conduct the war as I see fit. Hey, don't get any funny ideas. Before Yukaku, who sensed the threatening atmosphere, could move his fingers, Sigma finished his last sentence. Even going out of his way to say it was part of his plan to incite Yukaku to act. It's a declaration of war, from me to you. Who is this? Oh, I'm impressed. True, we were told where the spells were, but I didn't imagine you'd managed to intercept them all. Several minutes later, one of the shadows, the elderly captain, grinned from where he stood beside Sigma. I managed it because your information was accurate. Otherwise, it would have been me who went down. Thank you. Don't be so quick to thank your servant. It's give and take between us. The captain chuckled and looked down at the two masses lying on the floor. How human-shaped lumps of meat. Oh, their eyes rolled back in their heads that simply continued to groan meaninglessly.
What are you gonna do with them? If you leave them be, they'll recover thanks to their magic crest.
I blocked their means to recover. Given the quality of their magic crest, they should remain in this state for half a month. Oh, good lord. They were Mr. and Mrs. Kuraoka. Their arms and legs numbed and the majority of their magic circuits burned out using a specialized mystic code. That's rough! Faced with the couple, who were just barely able to breathe and nothing else, Sigma said, I'm hesitating. If I had the orders to kill them, I wouldn't hesitate. If I had orders not to kill them, I wouldn't. He continued expressionlessly, without any feeling for the couple lying in front of him. But I don't have orders this time. I don't even have a long-term goal.
But you've decided where you should go. Am I wrong?
I said that I protect Tsubaki. Sigma answered the shadow with Oh, well, that's the wrong one. Sigma answered the shadow with artificial winds tonelessly as ever. But I think she would be sad to learn that her parents were dead after she woke up. She might even blame herself and commit suicide. If I let them live, the same thing will happen again. So, you leave them technically alive? Honestly, that technology is incredible. It paralyzes every magic circuit and nerve in their body. It's definitely more of a magecraft user's approach than a mage's. Francesca made me learn all about this kind of thing. Then, he looked at Kuroka Tsubaki's mother and told the shadow, my mother is gone. Francesca told me that she died in a Holy Grail War in Japan. The words that no longer meant anything ran over and over through Sigma's head. Your parents were taken by people who came from outside. All of your fathers were killed by invaders filled with outside corruption. Your mother was kidnapped by a terrible demon who came from outside. So destroy. Destroy anyone who tries to take from us. So fight. Fight so that one day we can take your mother back. When those voices had dwindled, the shadow spoke, as if he had gauged the timing.
Yes, you were saying that before.
The boy with the serpent staff and half his face petrified looked at Sigma's face, stepped a little close to him and asked,
Do you have any thoughts about parents?
I just thought that I hope my mother wasn't like them. Sigma knew it no longer meant anything, but he still wished for it. So, what are you going to do now? Sigma looked up at the sky as he answered the female shadow dressed like an aviator. I was told that I could act freely. That's all I'll do. Valdius will probably try to kill me, but I think Francesca will be happy.
But being happy is all she'll do. I doubt that monster will do anything to help you.
Sigma answered the captain with a silent nod. I know, but what makes her happy? I should pay her back for taking care of me until now. Still holding the crossbow, Sigma made a declaration to himself and to his servant Watcher, a declaration that he was about to take center stage. I'm going to destroy this system. The Holy Grail War. Oh, bridge. Oh, I think this is where it happens. Oh, I think we're going in. Oh, it's time for a sippy. Oh boy, let's see. Yep. I think. Bridge. Clink, Clink. Or Clink, Clink. Oh yeah, Clink, Clank. Bridge. Clink, Clank. Huh? The next thing Ika knew, she was in the middle of an intersection. It was the intersection in front of Crystal Hill, near the hospital and the police station. The nearby asphalt was badly torn up in the distance. She could see blockades indicating no entry as police cars and construction vehicles parked to hide the street from view. Nearby, police officers were looking around like she was. She could not see Saber, who had gone a considerable distance away to fight, but at least the orb of water floating around her was still there. We came back? Colesman Special Corrections Center. Oh. So they made it back in one piece. It's a good thing I had the street cordoned off. Valdius said with a shrug, then informed his trusty servant Aludra? Aludra. Okay. While he watched the footage through the surveillance cameras placed throughout the city. Now we've got one nerve-wracking day after another, but there are only a few more to go. We'll have to start arranging events in earnest. What first? Valdius answered her with a wry smile and a wink. For now, let's see about getting some stomach medicine. Okay, here we go. Central intersection. Oh, there she is. That's her, Jack. That girl's Saber's master. I was excited that he had found Ayaka. Approach with caution, wristwatch Jack admonished him. You see how much power Saber wields. We won't last a second if she turns out to be hostile. That's true, but I can't stop thinking about that master. I know, Jack. Can you turn into a white flag? I was able to become a watch thanks to the inanimate object theory, but I'd never heard of anyone suggest that Jack the Ripper was actually a white flag. They're out there if you look, I just know it. Human possibilities are kind of close to infinite, so you must have about 5,000 true identities. That's considerably fewer than infinite. Typical exchange helped Jack to feel that he and his master really had returned to their original world. But, Jack told Flat again, I will keep an eye out so he could protect Flat if Mage or Servant attacked as they approached Saber's master. I doubt it'll be of much use in combat from now on. The bowman in front of the hospital stole my noble phantasm, and he's not the only heroic spirit to show how great the difference in our capabilities is. Don't worry. I told you, if we think of it as hard mode, we can work on the difference in stats somehow. I suppose I should be grateful that you put concern for me before yourself when that assassin questioned you about the Holy Grail. What do you mean? Flat exclaimed, his eyes bright. I want to find out who Jack the Ripper really was too, you know? You might just end up disappointed, Jack continued. There's a good chance that some piece of trash just happened to not get caught. In any case, stop idolizing a thing like me. When my identity is finally revealed, I'll merely gain the right to atone for my crimes. Learning my true identity would be salvation for me, but not atonement, and it's not healthy to idolize a criminal in the first place. Once he was done lecturing Flat, Jack's tone softened. But the days oh my god, there's so many flags are going up, if you know what I'm saying. But the days I spend like this with you, what remains in my memory will be undoubtedly me. If I settle the question of my identity with the power of the Holy Grail, I will still most likely disappear, and that genuine Jack will stand before you. If they try to kill you, show no concern. Kill them or escape them at once and forget them as soon as you can. Jack? But I'd be grateful if you could remember the me who is talking to you now. Jack spoke like they were his last words. Yeah, right, okay, at least it's saying it too. He must be certain that it would be difficult for him to win through the battles to come. Flat turned to him with his usual smile. I'm the same way. Whatever your identity turns out to be, it's a separate issue. As far as I'm concerned, Jack is the Jack I'm talking to right now. If someone told you to atone for the crime of murder, I'd testify for you. I'd tell them, this Jack is a genuine fake. He doesn't need to atone for anything. You got that backwards in more ways than one, Jack laughed out loud. The unmage-like young mage and the serial killer laughed cheerfully together. They walked with a spring in their steps as if they were not afraid of anything, and decided to make contact with the girl who was Saber's master immediately. Hey there, Ayaka. Uh-huh. Who are you? Ayaka turned to look in the direction of the sudden greeting and saw a man in his late teens, maybe almost 20, standing and waving to her. How do you know my name? Oh, so you really aren't the same person, the young man said, seeing Ayaka's wary reaction. Well, that makes sense. I mean, your flow of magical energy is totally different, but is your name Ayaka really Ayaka too? Huh? Ayaka stared at the young man confused. Who are you? Do you know about me? I'm Flat. Nice to meet you. There's another girl with the same name and face as you, and I'm friends with her. But your magical energy currents... I thought so. The young man looked at Ayaka and started saying something to himself. Wait, Ayaka asked, nervously backing away. Tell me, if you know about me, if you know who Ayaka Seijo is, please tell me. Flat answered Ayaka's strange request with a nod. He looked serious. Sure, I understand. Like I thought, you don't really know what you are, do you? Ayaka fell silent. Flat took that as a yes and started to say something to comfort her. You see, your body... First came the whistle of something slicing through the air. An instant later, just as that red that blossomed from the torso of the young man who called himself Flat tinted Ayaka's view, came the crash of shattering asphalt. Huh? Did the sound come from Ayaka or from Flat? Flat thudded to his knees on the spot. Flat? Jack's voice filled the area. He had been wary of the mage called Ayaka. He'd also been on alert for attacks from Saber and other heroic spirits. But Flat and Jack trusted the nearby police officers, their allies, but this was their first contact with Saber. But Flat had been pierced by a long-range attack that did not rely on magical energy from a fraction that had nothing to do with Saber. Not now, Windows Update. It's serious. As Flat looked at the hole torn in his gut, he was able to analyze with complete calm that he'd been shot diagonally upward from the roof of a building. He raised his head to look. It's so bright. I can't quite see. Flat instinctively raised a hand and muttered to himself as if something was out of the ordinary. The sun, which had begun to sink westward, was in his eyes. Sorry, Jack. I screwed up. He thought he could hear Jack shout. He felt him trying to turn into something incredible and do something in the direction the bullet had flown from. But Flat knew. He was probably too late. Flat's eyesight had spotted multiple snipers. Reinforced eyesight had spotted multiple snipers stationed on buildings in multiple directions. Sorry, Professor. Then, with a faintly lonely smile, he said his last words. Sorry, everyone. A second high-pitched whistle sped in front of Ayaka, and another red flower bloomed. It bloomed about a meter above the first. In other words, where the young man who called himself Flat's head had been. It was not the first time she had seen a person die before her eyes, but it was the first time she had seen the head of a person who had been smiling and talking to her until a second before disappear. While Ika Seijo screamed, the body of Flat Escardos collapsed in a sea of red where it had poured out. Somewhere. What is it, Sven? They're friends. The young man, questioned by the mage walking beside him, looked confused and sniffed several times before speaking with a sense of unease that he could not explain. No, I just had a feeling like a smell that was all over disappeared. Aw. Colesman? Wait, are we actually learning who shot him? Okay. Colesman Special Corrections Center. Confirmed destruction of target's head. Beginning additional assault. Good. Oh, no, I think we did learn about this in the show. Yeah, I think we did. Because then after this is when the things go. Right. Good. Don't hesitate to destroy the magic crests as well. It belongs to the decrepit Escardos family. Faldius sipped black tea and checked his monitors as he listened to the reports over his radio. Additional gunfire was making the man's corpse lying on the asphalt dance. Unlike Rongel, it was not a puppet, but a real body. You know, I think that people who inspire others are the most dangerous of all, Faldius told Aludra as he elegantly sipped his tea. In this case, I've been wary of Flat and Saber, who have been making one new ally after another. If there's any chance that the two of them made contact in the world inside the ward, we have to eliminate them immediately, or my stomach will be the one to die. Saber's master as well, then? After Flat, if possible. Or so I'd hoped, but that's no longer an option. The girl who was Saber's master was already surrounded by a water-like dome of magical energy, and Saber, who had rushed to her side, was carrying her indoors in his arms. I'm also interested in that master's identity. We'll investigate her a bit after we eliminate her. Is this your stomach medicine? Aludra asked as the gunfire on the monitors finally came to an end, and the sound on the radio died down. Yes, that's exactly what it is, Faldius answered with a shrug and a smile. The best cure for stress is to eliminate each of its causes. Just as Faldius was about to finish the last sip of his tea, one of the monitors in front of him went dark. At the same time, he realized that it was the camera showing Flat Escardos' corpse. Oh, okay. He received a radio message from his sniper team. Please respond. This is Spade. Or... What's wrong? There's something... When he tried to respond, the radio went dead. Then, another monitor, surveilling the central intersection, went dark. Faldius decided this was an attack and automatically switched to mystical communication with his team scattered around the scene, but... What is it? What the hell is it? Come on, fire. Oh, it's hopeless. Damn it, why is this? It's a monster! Just shoot it. Hurry up and kill it. No, why? A mage? Stop! Help it! It's not you! The monitors continue to go dark one after another, and the screams of the sniper team continue to ring out as if in harmony. Soon, a team that had been monitoring the situation from a short distance away reported in. Jackal here. Faldius, what the hell is that thing? You never told us about this. You told us Flatus was a mage. What the hell's going on? Please, calm down. The monster? It could be Flat Servant transformed. It should run out of magical energy and dissipate soon. Please, hold your ground. No! Something I think was a heroic spear did transform, but it disappeared just like you said. This thing's different. Shit. Oh, that thing's not human, and it's not mage either. What the hell is it? Forget hematophages and heroic spirits. It is an honest to God With an ensemble performance of screams and sounds like something being folded, the line went silent. And it did not stop there. One after another, the surveillance systems that Faldius installed throughout the cities were going dark. In just a few seconds, every surveillance camera in Snowfield had stopped working. Faced with that situation, Faldius dropped his teacup. He did not even hear it shatter on the floor as he muttered, "What in God's name is going on?" Somewhere in Monaco. I see. So Flatus Gardos has come to an end. That man, the owner of a certain casa, who had until recently been conversing with Flat over the phone, offered a silent toast to someone who had long since vanished from the world. I will give my blessing to the great achievement of mine old neighbor, Messara Escardos. However, if the thing you gained at the cost of that young man with a future is the past, then I certainly don't consider it cause for celebration. Wait, what? What does that mean? If the thing you gained at the cost of a young man with a future is the past? Huh? That's confusing. Clink, clink, clink. When I realized that was the sound that accompanied the end of everything, I thought, oh, it's begun. What? I soon realized what the clinking and clanking was. It was the sound of empty shell casings ejected from sniper rounds that had put an end to Flatus Gardos falling from the tops of buildings to the ground. It was a sound that tumbled dozens of meters down through the air to finally arrive beside the flesh that had been Flatus Gardos. I kept waiting for a long, long time. The time had finally come for me, born for the sole purpose of existing to be meaningful. Oh, that's right, I have to move. I have to move on to the next phase. I already understand. I understand what I ought to Wait, what? I understand what I ought to accomplish. The greatest and final purpose bestowed on me by the Escardos family. The purpose for which I was born. Isn't that right, Flat? Huh? Oh yes, it's over. It has come to a close. I have fallen to ruin. I arrived. I'm complete. Loss was always the final piece. Following the principles of my birth, I rebooted myself. I recalculated the duty I'd been tasked with. Would my path be difficult or easy? There was no point in speculating. In either case, I had no choice but to see it through. Nothing else would give me meaning. Continue to exist. Continue to exist. I need only become a true human and continue to exist in this world. Yes, I promise you, Flat. I'll do your share of continuing to exist in this world as well. Even if that means wiping the species defined as humans from the face of this earth. What the frick? So when he died, something activated? In him? The clock tower. Shit. I still can't get through. An area of the clock tower. In the preparation room of the School of Modern Magecraft, Lord Elmoy II was muttering impatiently as he made call after call on his cell phone. Since her last call had abruptly cut off with the sound of shouts and what might have been a building collapsing, he had been unable to completely get in touch with Flat. Should I try calling the chief of police instead? No. I don't know his personal number. I doubt I could reach him by calling the stations, but he laid his hands on his desk and considered for a short while. then stood up as if he had come to a decision. I really have no choice. This really does call for... No sooner had he opened the door than his body was shoved into the room. On closer inspection, he saw that there was a powerful ward modeled on a white snake over the entrance. That obstinate weave of this spell. It's one of Adashino's wards. That's the hot mommy. Damn the School of Political Science and Law. You never know when to stop. Oh my god! He looked out the window and saw that several homunculi in the service of Gordolf Music, my man! Yo, Gordy! Were standing watch. It was apparent that I know he's like super little in this one though. He's not, the normal self. It was apparent that they meant to keep Lord Elmaloy under house arrest. What now? Should I contact Rhinus or Melvin too? Elmaloy II was pondering the issue when he realized there was an unfamiliar noise in that room. It came from the small vanity case lying in the corner of the preparation room. The case ordinarily held spare cigars, but there was an electronic sound coming from inside it. Elmaloy suspiciously opened the case and looked even more confused when he saw what was inside. Wait, oh my god! What's going on? This wasn't here a moment ago. Oh my god, no way. The thing that appeared inside the case while he was not looking and was playing an old ringtone was a cell phone colored a blue deeper than even lapis lazuli. Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I read this in the order I did, because that hits so much harder now. Mr. Cell Phone! Now that's not his first appearance though, because we met a blue cell phone earlier. That's interesting. So, frick, I'm dying because now, I'm like, what's gonna happen, you know? What did Flat become? So that makes it sound like, because, okay, we'll finish up here. We'll finish up, and then we'll go back because I want to check something. So we have here the pages here. Rider, Kuroka Tsubaki, Pale Rider. Okay, so the whole thing of him becoming an actual horseman guy is not actually in the book. That's an anime thing of him appearing and riding down. Okay. Pale Rider, the concept of gender doesn't apply, varies based on infection and diffusion, roughly equivalent to a paravirus at minimum. Oh, wow. Neutral evil. Infection. The ability to expand its territory by infecting other organisms with parts of itself in the form of bacteria. Minds and bodies infected are under its control, but their minds are drawn into the world created by its noble phantasm. Magical energy may be absorbed. Innocent world. Skill that reflects conceptions produced by human fears of death and pestilence. Because these conceptions are varied, is a nondescript entity when his first summoned with tendencies of its very being change depending on those it draws in the underworld. Guidance to the underworld. The ability to grant number blessings to allies that is drawn into the underworld. Territory that's become drawn into the territory that's become an underworld due to its noble phantasm. Because Pale Rider is not itself a ruler of the underworld, skill differs from the certain deities' protection of the underworld. Okay. So noble phantasms. Okay, I'm gonna zoom in, even though you won't be able to see these, but I need to be able to read them. So I'll just read them here. Come dark path, come doomsday, come. Okay. EX anti-world noble phantasm. A noble phantasm that creates a ward world that becomes an artificial underworld with Pale Rider's master as its starting point and acts as a receptacle for the deaths that Pale Rider bestows. It is strongly influenced by master's conceptions. It can become an archetypical heaven or hell, but can also become a space that acts as absolute nothingness and destroys souls. In extreme circumstances, Pale Rider can pull its target's body into the world as well as their mind. The ward is typically smaller in scale, but as a result of connecting land itself and other factors, Pale Rider currently is creating a larger world than normally summoned. Because it takes the form of a demon that humans envision as their natural enemy, it is particularly effective on humans. And there's another one down here. So, Sword, Famine, Death, Beast. Kagome, Kagome. Rank A, Anti-Army, Normal Phantasm, Range 99, Max Targets 99. The ability to manifest and then utilize the power of numerous objects that impart death to others within Pale Rider's ward. In an ideal environment, it is also capable of recreating a mythical doomsday to the extent the magical energy will permit. It did not reach that level because Tsubaki lacks knowledge of the apocalypse or Ragnarok and did not wish for hell. The pronunciation of this noble phantasm's name varies from master to master. That's weird. Damn. Okay. Oh, we actually get some Watcher here? Okay, wait. Wait, this is interesting. Okay, again, I'll make it bigger because I just want to see. Okay, so Sigma, true name. Okay, well, I mean, I'm assuming true name, it's 2 spaces, Moby Dick, or, Ishmael, maybe? Supposedly female, but her current master, Sigma, is unable to confirm. Oh, unable to manifest as an entity with mass. Lawful neutral. Strength blank, endurance EX, agility blank, magical energy EX, luck blank, noble phantasm EX. That's crazy. Watchman B, a skill that represents a unique form of a Watcher's contract with the Master. In this heroic spirit's case, this means communicate with the Master via shadows. Trials of blank B, a variant of a certain anti-humanity skill. Watcher is able to bestow trials on lifeform born from wombs. Why the specific born from wombs? By altering their luck. Because it is not powerful enough to manipulate fate, the ability is primarily based on Watcher's own. Okay. Overlook all creation B. The ability to comprehend events taking place in a set area where it's summoned at rank B. It's limited to things observable by sight, hearing, and sensing magical energy. Denizen of a different phase A. A skill that indicates invincibility except under certain conditions. Watcher contradicts the current state of the world and therefore cannot manifest with a body unlike servants. Conversely, Watcher is only able to manifest a portion of her body for less than 0.0001 seconds, only in the moment when the conditions are met and she is destroyed. Oh. Okay. Anti-magic, overrun territory, nothing else. Okay. Afterword. We do have stories here. Okay. So, contains spoilers. Okay. Hello, Narita here. It's been a while, so I delivered a new book of Strange Fake for the new year of the Reiwa era. I managed to get 2 books out in the fiscal year of 2019. Hope I'll be able to continue this pace. No, you do not. I hope those of you who watched the end of year FGO special enjoyed seeing Fake in motion, hearing the beautiful... Oh, okay, so this is after the first episode preview. Okay. And most of all, getting to hear Saber speak. A variety of circumstances led to production... Oh, never mind. For an animated ad. Okay. As I write this afterward, it's still in production and waiting for Saber's voice actor, Ono Yuki, to record his lines, but the character design, storyboards, music, and other information I kept getting already has me convinced it's going to turn out great. What, 2019? Wait, was that? No, that would have been the commercial, so I hope you get to enjoy the book before the excitement dies down. First of all, I'm sure fans who read the original Fate and a lot of spin-off books were quite surprised by this part of the book. Yes, the Holy Grail debate that was depicted in Urobuchi Gun's Fate Zero, the exchange I depicted between them doesn't exist in Zero. Oh. I already decided to stage an encore performance of the 4th Grail War in front of Saber when I was writing. Mr. Urobuchi graciously gave me permission, but I was worried writing too much would turn to spoilers for Zero. That's crazy to think about. I was wondering how to handle the different nuances of slightly different world lines and the spin-offs that take place there, except for the El Malloy 2 case files, which is set in exactly the same world line as Stay Night. Yeah, we know that though. When I got a heaven-sent blessing from Mr. Nasu. Mr. Nasu, Ryogo, that's because you're trying to make all the world line consistent. Think of it the other way around. Think I can write a Holy Grail debate just for the fake world line. Mr. Nasu spoke with an air of an English aristocrat in a horror tale full of crimson secrets. What? An original conversation with the same kings just for the fake world line? I wavered for a little bit, and then without thinking too hard, shouted, "Done." I wrote the scene in the heat of the moment, but I was originally made it quite long before it hit me. Oh no, forget Zero, this spoiled a ton of other books. Then I shortened it quite a bit. So it ended up as a conversation with a hint of King Arthur, who can sometimes turn into a bunny? What? What do you mean by that? Huh? Okay. Hope you look to one of the elements that makes the fake world line. What do you mean by that? There's also a certain scene in which a pro-humanity character that I think longtime Type Moon fans will finally make an appearance. Yes. It was Mr. Nasu who showed me the guiding principles of what will he do when he hears about Jester, and he supervised all of his lines. That said, I was extremely nervous. Couldn't help thinking, wait, what? Am I really allowed to write this? By the way, the Stay Night and case files were aligned under the framework of the 27 Dead Apostles, so he ends up having a slightly different atmosphere, but I'm sure Type Moon will show how he's different when they show his casino one day. That exists in case files, but I also think that it is in, well, potentially in Tsukihime Remake 2. On the subject of the 27 Dead Apostle ancestors existing or not, the events in Wales that Flat mentions played out essentially the same as in case files, except that one particular character might have been replaced by someone else. Well, I don't need, okay. At that point, I'll leave it to your imaginations. Strange. Don't tell me, because I'm going to read those later. I'd like to thank the following: Aniplex Katakawa for the commercial, all the people, Hiroyuki Kawano, is that his actual name? What? Yoshi provided the vocals, editor, Urabuchu gave me permission, research of the backgrounds, and Makoto for the case files characters, Mori Shizuki for the comic adaptation, also provided illustrations. Yep. Kinoku Nasu, who helped create Fate and supervise all my work, all the Grand Order staff who allowed me to be involved in Enkidu's interludes. Right, I forgot that that's the case. And all of you who picked up this book to read it, thank you very much. While watching Kenobi P's Bono Jihen Narita Ryogo. And that is the end. So, okay, here's my question. So, the one thing that I do want to look back over at was this. I thought that this was the frickin' bull, right? But now this seems to be the thing that activates when Flat died. There was a hollow rattle. Well, we know what that is. Right? That's the sound of the bullet firing, right? Time was meant to be part of the system, merely one of the elements it comprised, but it was different now. A slight uncertainty about its goal to wait arose in the program running inside it. It already understood the uncertainty was a system called emotion that had been copied from the outside. At the same time, it realized that time had finally come, born for the purpose of existing. In which case, it had to move on to the next phase. It understood what it ought to accomplish. The greatest and final purpose bestowed on it by its creator, the purpose for which I have been born. Oh yes, it's over, it's come to close, I've fallen to ruin, I have arrived, I'm complete. Lost was always the final piece. Following the principles of its birth, it rebooted itself. My only thought about the whole thing about Watchers saying like, oh, it can control things born from the womb or whatever, well, this seemingly isn't something born from the womb. It recalculated the duty it had been tasked with. Would its path be difficult or easy? There was no speculating. In either case, it had no choice but to see it through. Nothing else gave it meaning. Continue to exist, and need only become a true human. True human? Even if that meant wiping the species defined as human. Oh my, like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Damn, man. Well, that really was a strange fake. And with that, we are 100% caught up on the anime. I am shocked that this entire exact volume was in. It was. I kept thinking, I mean, there's a few new things in this, but it was almost all in, which was super crazy. Damn. We're on to new stuff then soon enough. I'll get back to this after the new FGO event. We'll see. Maybe. Oh, well, it depends. Because I won't be back I'll be going back to Canada soon. I'm going to be real. You're not catching me doing full readings in Canada. Maybe not. It's a little difficult to do. Just because you don't want to hear the people in the background. Let's Plays are hard enough. But we'll see. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching. And we'll see you next time for some more Strange Fake as we move on to brand new stuff with Volume 7. We'll see you guys then. Ciao.
Yo.